Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk doomsday. But before we do, I'm giving you a quotation from Mark 10:31. I gave it from Mark 10:28. This is Mark 10:31, which says, "Many that are first will be last, and the last first." A lot of us want to be first in life, especially if it's something good. You want to be first in that. But many of us want to be last in things which are bad. It makes sense. But most of us want to be first in terms of getting stuff and not in giving stuff. When you were a child, you had to receive stuff because you couldn't help yourself. Your parents had to wipe your bottom because you felt all over yourself. You wear Pampers. You lay in a bed. You couldn't even walk. You couldn't even sit up. So they sat you up for you. They let you strengthen your muscles by standing. They provided food for you. But when you became a man and you could take care of yourself, you were able to provide for a family. You got married. You had children. And then you became the giver. And your life was invested in your children, in your legacy. Well, the same thing with life. We should apply it to everything. Since God supplies all our needs, we should be givers. The first thing we should want to do is give, and the last thing we would want to do is receive. I hope you do that today. Keep Mark 10:31 in your heart, because it's better to give than to receive. And they who want to be esteemed the highest must be the greatest servant of all. Let's get into doomsday. So there are many different toys representing doomsday, but mostly the classical doomsday is what everybody thinks about. And just so people know what doomsday is, doomsday generally is this monster who is able, he's almost indestructible. In fact, he is indestructible, because doomsday, if you do him something, he's going to build up immunity to it. He's going to build up bony spurs at the same time. So he grows bony masses every time he gets hurt or damaged. And basically, doomsday is indestructible. He's very strong. He's very big, and he's noted by these bony spikes that are seen around him. So here we have some various renditions of him. This is the classical doomsday here. He came from underground. He broke free. And as the Justice League attacked him and fought him and hurt him a number of times, and he built up immunity, he started building up these bony spikes you see here. This is, I believe, DC Mattel's version of doomsday. Now, let me show you some versions of doomsday other than that are in the toy versions. We have doomsdays from Darkseid's doomsday. So this is the Darkseid doomsday. He's a little bit shorter, he's a little smaller, and he's much more destructible. And Darkseid made a cloned army of doomsday. He took the original doomsday and cloned him and made an army of him. Then you have some crossovers here in these toys. You have Doomsday Deathstroke, called Doomstroke. And then you have Doomsday here. This is a version of Doomsday. Again, this is from mostly Darkseid's forces, I think. This is the Doomsday from there. But you can correct me if I'm wrong, okay? You also have Doomsday from Batman v Superman. And this Doomsday was cloned off of Lex Luthor's cloning of General Zod, using the ancient mechanisms from Krypton that they used to first clone Doomsday, which was now abomination, and but people did not want cloned anymore. And then finally you have Smallville's version of Doomsday, which is not big as the Doomsday we know, but this is the version of Doomsday they had, where he still had the bony spikes and he was kind of indestructible up to a certain point. Now what we're going to look at is the classical Doomsday first of all. And here, Mattel DC Universe, they have the classical version of Doomsday. It's called Pop Critica, and Pop Critica is the place where I got this information from. And basically, this classic Doomsday, you can see, is enormous, which is straight from the Death of Superman comic. And this Doomsday, his dimensions are about 10 inches tall. So this is a huge Doomsday. He's 10 inches tall. And let me show you him compared to Superman here. This is him, still Pop Critica, just some photos of it. And you can see he's almost twice the size of Superman, who's about 6 inches tall here. Okay. So here's some other renditions of him. He's slamming Superman into a wall or something. Here he is. This is a side view of him. And the classical thing about Doomsday is his bony spurs or his bony spikes. He's got some in his knuckles, some under his elbow and forearm, some in his back, some around his knees. Look how long these things are, like almost like blades of knives on his chest. And you have some that form his beard that goes all the way around his chin, as well as in his teeth, his eyes, and the forehead. Okay, and this long piece of hair there. So basically keratinized, sort of hard Kryptonian bony plates. Instead of having hair, I guess there, he has bony plates there. You see him from the front view. Here he is like Hunchback of Notre Dame in a side view here. And here he is from the back. Pronounced bony plates. That's a classical Doomsday. Alright? Then you have, here he is in his bound form as he was just coming out from being bound up. Somebody bound him and put him in the depths of the earth. Right? Here is the New 52 Superman, however, compared in height to him. Still dwarfed. He dwarfs that New 52 Superman. Then you have the New 52 Doomsday. Okay, this is the Doomsday appeared. Wonder Woman for him, Superman for him, Cyborg for him, etc. Right? And this is in the series Doomed, in which Superman actually got infected by Doomsday, and he actually himself is turning into a kind of Doomsday himself. So this Doomsday here comes from the DC Comics multiverse. And let me just give you a quick breakdown of the multiverse here. You have different universes here. We have the CW universe, which involves Supergirl, the Flash, Grant Gustin's The Flash, and Arrow. And then you have the New 52, which involves Doom Superman and Doomsday. You also have the Dark Knight Returns with Batman here and a Thug. And you have some other figures in the Dark Knight Returns that are also in this ensemble. And you also have I forgot. This is actually the Joker from the Dark Knight Returns as well. So this is the Joker from the Dark Knight Returns. This is also Batman. You have the Thug, and I think you also have the Robin from the Dark Knight Returns. Not all the figures are shown here. And then you have Lex Luthor from Batman v Superman. Okay, here. Now this Doomsday, by the way, let me see if I can get to him. This Doomsday, he is significantly taller than, again, all of these multiverse characters. Okay, remember, all of these multiverse characters are around about 6 feet, or a little bit less, or a little bit more. Okay, versus the Dark Knight Batman, he's about 6 foot, maybe 6'4" here. This Superman Doom is about 6'2", right? And these are all inches, of course. These are 6-inch figures. And Lex Luthor here is probably 6 feet tall here. Supergirl is probably 5 foot something. So this Doomsday is pretty tall. And just so you guys understand, I actually get this account of Doomsday in Toy Hype USA, and it says here he's actually 8'1.5", or 8.5 inches tall. Sorry, I equated it to feet because I was thinking of him as an actual height, but in this case we just talk inches, but you can just scale it up to feet, right? So he's 8.5 inches tall, which is significantly taller than any figure in that collection. And when you see him standing amongst them, you can see why. He's significantly taller than them, right? So now we're looking at Batman v Superman Doomsday, and you can see he significantly has not only longer protrusions of bony spurs, but he also has fewer. Okay, that's a close-up of him. He's got the protrusions on the teeth, the shoulders, the back, the knees, I guess the elbows, right? But he doesn't have it in the center of the chest. He doesn't have it in the center of the head. He has some on the cheekbones, but he doesn't have it all the way under, right? And the reason is, this Doomsday, he was newly born. He was newly created, so that kind of makes sense. He's now regenerating a couple times so that he has, a few more bony spurs. So there you see them in the various places. But his dimensions seem to be the same as Doomsday. He just doesn't have those long projections that Doomsday generally has. He's short, stubby ones, right? So he has a little less projections like the New 52 one, but significantly less than the classical one. But at the end of the day, he still has the projections in his back, in his elbows, on his knees, okay, and his forearm, on his shoulders, okay, and even his teeth, and his cheekbones. They're there, right? Now what I want to show you really quickly is that his dimension, his height is 8 inches. So he's the shortest of all the Doomsdays we've seen, but he isn't that much shorter. The new 52 Doomsday is just slightly taller than him. So if we would say that in terms of feet, he's like 8 feet tall. And if you were to look at him compared to the Justice League members of that particular kind of the Batman v Superman collection, you can see that he's still significantly taller than them. All right, and why that's important is because when I compare this, say, to the Doomsday here, you can see that this Doomsday here. Let me get this one. Yeah, this Doomsday here, you can see he's significantly taller than those multiverse correctors, and look, same thing. Just that this Doomsday looks much more real compared to that Doomsday, which looks more like a toy. Alright? So that's really interesting. And the other thing I want to say is, if you remove the bony structures from this Doomsday, doesn't he resemble this Doomsday? Look at that. Right? I just wanted to show you guys so you can see just how interesting this gets. Alright? So, a lot of people talked about, the Doomsday, he resembled a Ninja Turtle, etc. But really and truly, the BVS Doomsday is pretty much in line with Doomsday. And I think we're going to see this Doomsday again somewhere down the road. Or a Doomsday down the road, which would be developed even more than this Doomsday. Because this Doomsday didn't get really to fully develop into those really, really long bony spikes. Except when Wonder Woman cut off his arm. But he didn't really get to fully develop into that Doomsday. Right? But that's the BVS Doomsday there, and this is Doomsday as well. Alright, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to share, comment, subscribe, and if you can, donate or find people who can donate to my channel. I'll appreciate it very highly. You guys have a great one.